So you finished your film and now you're looking at film festivals. But wait, you need to do these things before you enter any film festivals so you've got the best chance of getting in and possibly even winning awards. Hi, I'm Jim. I've made features and shorts. I've been in many festivals and I've also judged on festivals. I also host the Honest Filmmaker podcast, where I've spoken to hundreds of filmmakers about their films and their festival success. So these are my tips for getting into festivals and the things you really must do before you enter. So first and foremost is research. Not every festival is right for your movie. Festivals have lots of different categories, but the first place you want to start is with genre. Think about the genre of your film and will it fit in with that particular festival? Then you need to think about premiere status. Now you want to reserve your premiere for the biggest festival you possibly can, but some festivals do prefer a premiere. So is this festival going to be the right one for you? Is it big enough? Is it the genre? But the most important thing I'd say for a film festival is to look at past selections. The films they've selected in the past and the ones that have gone on to win. You want to look for festivals that have celebrated and awarded films similar to yours in your genre, so you know it's a good fit for that festival and the judging panel are going to be interested in your movie. And this research you do on film festivals should really start very early. It should start probably when you're in post-production and you're starting to think about film festivals, because these deadlines for film festivals come around and obviously it's cheaper to enter earlier, so you might even use this deadline to give yourself a goal to aim for. But do give yourself enough padding, because the next part of this is locking your film. Never ever, under any circumstances, send your film to a festival when it's not finished. Regardless of how complete it is, even if it's, oh, one track of music's got to go on, or we need to do a little bit more mixing on the sound, do not enter. Get the film as perfect as you possibly can before you upload it anywhere or before you let anyone have eyes on it. So we're talking final mix for sound, final colour grade, clean titles and credits. It's got to be perfect if you're going to submit it, because you want the best chance of getting in. Submitting a temporary version or an incomplete version, it really reduces your chances, and it also gives you a little less credibility that you're prepared to send something in that's not finished. A good way to check the film's finished is to give it to people for honest feedback, and I'm talking about brutally honest feedback. You want to know all the things that are wrong with your film, whether they're technical or story related, so you can actually do something about them before you start submitting to festivals. So do go to friends, go to family, go to people you know are going to give you that harsh, honest feedback, and then when you get that feedback, you really need to look for patterns in what people are saying and listen to that internal voice that will tell you if these particular bits of feedback are hitting a nerve. You'll know when someone says something, because it'll probably upset you. You'll think, oh, that's not quite right, but in your heart you'll know, actually that's something I need to address. Maybe I've been putting it off, but address it now before you enter a festival. So then when you're looking at actually going to enter the festival, there's lots of assets you need, and you need to have them all ready when you go onto that platform, probably Film Freeway. First off, we'll start with your logline, and remember, you need a protagonist, you need a conflict, and you need stakes. You need the person reading that logline to actually look forward to watching that film and be intrigued as to how you're going to answer the question that the film poses. If a film programmer can't understand what the film's about from that logline, whether that be the actual basic story setup or the vibe of the film, then you're in trouble. You'll also need assets like a poster and stills. You want to make sure the stills are high quality photography, and you also want to make sure you've got a really good poster with a clear image that's great to sell the film. Because remember, these posters, these assets, these stills are going to be used in the brochure for the film festival, they're going to be used on their website, and the festival obviously wants to sell tickets, so your film's got to look like an entire package. You might consider writing a director's statement to really help the festival understand why you made this film, why it's important to you, and what it's really about. Keep it short, but make sure it's authentic and honest. If you haven't met anyone from this festival and you've never been, a director's statement is a great way for the festival to understand who you are as a director and why you've made this film. Now, I've already mentioned technical checks, making sure everything's right with the film before you submit, but one key element of that is your sound. You want to make sure the dialogue's nice and crisp, you can understand exactly what everyone's saying. You want to make sure all your music's balanced and there's no sudden drops in volume. any audience, whether that's someone watching your film on a streaming platform or a festival programmer, will forgive bad visuals, but they will not forgive bad audio, because that's the way they're going to connect with this film. So make sure it's perfect. You need to be really strategic about which festivals you enter and when you enter them, and also give yourself a realistic budget, because it can be very tempting to just sporadically enter film festivals because of the price, but those small amounts do add up. You might be thinking, oh, it's $10 here, $20 here, what does that matter? But you'll go back, you'll look at your budget, and you'll realize you've spent a lot of money on festivals that you really didn't have any chance of getting into. Save money for those big festivals, the ones you think you've actually got a shot at, and remember to enter early to get that early bird discount. And that's all part of your strategy, is looking ahead 12 months of what's coming up and when you're going to enter. Another way to research a festival is to chat to people who've been to the festival, whether that be as an audience member or if they've screened their film there. If they've screened their film there, even better, reach out to filmmakers, chat to them. They might have a connection with the festival programmer, somebody you can actually speak to. Talk about your film before you press that submit button, so they know it's coming and they've spoken to you and you've got that personal connection. Even better, if you can attend that festival the year before your film's ready, that would be perfect. You can go along, your film might be in production or post-production, you can meet the people from the festival, tell them it's coming, tell them the story of the film, tell them why you're excited and that this particular festival is the right fit for you, so that when it comes through and it's submitted, they'll remember you, they'll remember your story, and they'll be more open to screening it at their festival. And look for ways to make promotion for this festival even easier. If you've got lots of followers or subscribers on a particular platform, then do let the festival programmers know about this. They want to know that you've got an audience that will potentially show up for the film. I'd say when you start out, look at local festivals, because you've potentially got more of a chance, because they know you're going to bring a crowd with you. They know you've potentially made the film in the area, so you're going to be well connected and be available to do any promotion and get bums on seats in that cinema, which is ultimately what that festival wants. Lastly, I'd just say, as a filmmaker myself, I've entered a ton of festivals, and it is tough, especially if you've entered a lot and you get a constant stream of not selected, not selected. And it's even worse in a way when they don't say anything, you just get a not selected, usually on the final day of the deadline. That email will come through. But don't lose heart. It doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with your film at all. You could do all of the tips I've just told you and still not get in for some unknown reason. It could be as simple as there's another film playing at that festival that's very similar to yours, and they're trying to create the right chemistry with their program for their audience. So don't get disheartened. Try and stay strategic with the festivals you enter, and if it didn't work out, move on to the next one. And if you've gone to the trouble of entering that festival, you might well have struck up a conversation with a programmer. So, you know, have humility, accept that you didn't get in, but maybe keep hold of that contact for later down the line for another feature film. Part of getting into festivals is having an existing audience, so the festival programmers know you can bring people to your screenings. So do check out my video on how to build your audience. If you're a filmmaker and you're looking to grow that audience, whether that be at a festival or on streaming, so you can earn some revenue from your film. See you on the next one.